become embroiled in crime when one of the offenders brings a bag full of cash from a drug dealer, and they find it and take it, and then the season ends with them sending the drug dealer to prison. Was that pretty good synopsis?
Pretty good.
And then season two basically, a lot of what what season two entails is them finding out. Oh no, this drug dealer wasn't the head honcho. He's got a big crime boss that he reported to.
There's always someone bigger and more menacing than the drug dealer. There's who does he work for? Where it's a big baddie.
He works for the dean.
Yeah.
Not dean, the dean.
Yeah.
Which implies some sort of academic background. I don't know what that's all about, but the dean wants his money back. He is not happy with them.
No.
And apparently, they have just been watching Breaking Bad because they're like, the only way we can do this, obviously, is turning to a life of crime.
Yeah. So they offer basically to find a way to get his money back, but also launder it for him because he's got obviously all this drug money.
Yeah. So they take over the drug operation of the drug dealer they just put in jail to try to pay him back.
And they have a certain amount of time to do it too.
So it was 8 weeks.
Yeah, it was a time crunch type of deal.
But I guess the thing that I'd sort of like to start on is there are a lot of characters in this show, and they're on, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because I think the thing that makes the show work really well is you have a lot of characters who are very flawed but likable for the most part, and they are all developing, and they even from season 1 to season 2 they're very, very different people, and they're sort of still on that path. So first, who is your favorite character in the show?
My favorite character has to be the writer, the creator, tall, skinny, goofy guy. I forget his name.
So yeah, he is Greg, played by Stephen Merchant.
There you go, Stephen Merchant. He's my favorite.
So he's a very bumbling He's framed as a bumbling, incompetent lawyer.
Yeah.
And in season 1, he was recently, I think, fairly recently divorced. His wife left him for her skydiving instructor or something.
Yeah.
And he gets busted getting a hand job from an escort in a parking lot. Which is, one rookie mistake. You don't go to a parking lot, Greg. Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Gotta go somewhere a lot more private when you're getting a handy from an escort. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows.
Clearly. But kind of I think the general arc that Greg is on is becoming a little bit more confident, less bumbling. Do you think that he progressed in season 2?
There's definitely moments in season 2 where he's got to man up, and I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but there's obviously a moment where he's got to he wants to ask a girl out, and then he wants to talk to his boss about being made part of a partnership or whatever in the
partner in the law firm.
Yeah, so there's been moments where he's like, okay, dude, fucking nut up or shut up. What are you gonna
do? The funny thing about that character, and it does make me laugh because Stephen Merchant obviously is writing the whole show.
Yeah.
But he is the most competent among all of them. It's oh, he's bumbling and he stands up and accidentally hits his head into a lampshade or whatever. But he's the one that's actually getting everything done.
Yeah.
Right? He's negotiating people out of prison, and he's making deals, and he's figuring out how to set up shell corporations and all this shit. He's actually highly competent. He's just a doofus.
Yeah.
So Stephen Merchant did make himself sort of the not the superhero, but the one that kind of makes the whole show work. I'm is this becoming the Greg story? Is Greg our secret protagonist all along? Okay, after Greg, who's your next favorite character?
I don't know. Christopher Walken's character, just because of the comedy elements of it, because he's just a fucking funny.
Christopher Walken?
He has the background of being a little bit of a con man. He knows
a grifter.
A grifter. He knows moves and plans.
A snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I could have just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Christopher Walken playing Christopher Walken, which is mostly what he does now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very funny because he's like a con man who recently got released from prison, and he's trying to work his way back into
The lives of his daughter and his grandkids.
exactly, and sort of square his past where he was obviously not there for them because he was in prison and he's just sort of an unreliable grifter. And Christopher Walken's just hilarious. Is there anything he's been in where you're like, oh, that was terrible? I mean, where he was terrible.
I think, in fact, this is just my bias, my opinion. I think the fact that you have Walken in your show or movie makes it like elevates it. Like his style is just makes whatever he's in better. You know.
He's definitely the biggest names. Well, probably even in England. I think he's definitely the biggest star in the show.
Yeah.
And God, he's been in a role. He was also in whatchamacallit, the Ben Stiller, Adam Scott. What was that called? We just reviewed it earlier.
Oh shit! I know what show you're
Severance.
talking. Severance.
Yeah, he was in that too. So he's on a roll of good shows, and that character's arc it's like Chris Walken. I call him Chris.
Chris, like you know him,
we're
like
best friends.
chums.
Me and Chris, we hang out on the weekends.
Yeah.
With Jeff Goldblum, it's just the three of us just shooting the shit. And
that's who you would hang out with, is Jeff Goldblum and Chris Walken?
Yeah.
Chris Walken?
Yeah, me and Chris Walken. And in season 2, you really see him.
I call him C-Dub.
C-Dub? That's what only his really close friends call. We're not on that level yet.
Oh, damn.
But he's trying to really figure out that, like, does he want to be a part of his family's life? Like, is he gonna just kind of run off? And I was a little disappointed though, because he's probably the least used character of the main cast in this season.
In season 2, yeah.
He's kind of just off doing his own thing for a lot of it.
He's kind of like the idea man for the group when they get into it, like a pinch. But outside of that, he's not very super involved with like their shenanigans. He has basically like his like
own little story thread.
Storyline, plot line is more like him dealing with his family, like his sister or his daughter and the grandkids, connecting.
And then you've got Lady Gabby, who she's supposed to be.
She's like an influencer.
Yeah, well, but she's like a socialite, but so she comes from an extremely wealthy family, and so everything was given to her. She's not a entrepreneurial businesswoman like Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any sex tapes. She hasn't really worked for that money one way or the other.
Yeah.
But they like to mention she's got 1.2 million followers on Instagram, which is funny because I'm like, man, that's not even very much anymore. That's
more than us, man.
That's a low tier. Yeah, but if that is all you do, there are people with just millions and millions.
Yeah.
But her whole arc is like, is she gonna actually do anything for herself? Is she, there's this whole thing with her. She was gonna plan a festival.
Yeah.
That seems like it was gonna be a complete disaster. And then in season 2, she has to deal with her basically being cut off financially by her dad. He's like, fuck this shit.
She's got to deal with addiction too, her heavy drug use, and then, her relationship, sexuality, if you want to call that, with a former, ex-girlfriend of hers.
I think at one point they mentioned she started doing coke when she was 12.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah.
I feel like
sounds about right.
I feel like that probably has to stunt your development a little bit.
Yeah.
The one complaint, I actually think the actress does a very good job.
Yeah, she does that perfectly.
I kind of wish they'd found someone who was like at least like 15% hotter.
She's hot enough for me. She gets a pass for me. I'm not usually into like skinny white girls, but she gets a pass. Okay. She's for sure up there. Excuse me.
And then I think the two characters we probably have to talk
hand in hand, or the
there's Myrna, who she's a black like social justice warrior. She runs this organization called it's like the Bristol Social Collective, or the the BJC, the Bristol Justice Collective.
There you
go. And you know they have her kind of like over the top, bleeding heart liberal like protests and everything in season 1, and they have paired her and sort of played her off against John, who just white, kind of middle class dude, very very conservative, kind of has a little bit of that like, hey, women belong in the kitchen, men are the breadwinners vibe to him.
Yeah.
And he is the son in Halloran and Sons. They kind of set it up as like just this very generic like kind of import export like company, and he's got just the sort of domineering father who bullies him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of you kind of get to be a little bit more sympathetic. At least I did, where I'm like, oh, like yeah, his dad was a complete prick, and
well, part of the you know plot line revolving him in season 2 is that his dad fires him. so it's like the company is dad and son, and then
it's just business.
Yeah,
it's just business. Which, okay, first of all, if you're in his shoes and your dad fires you, how would you even like deal with that?
You can only imagine. Like, you don't even know where to begin. Like, do you start your own company that competes with his, since you kind of know how the business is run? Do you start your own thing and then compete with your own family?
It doesn't seem like he has money for that. I don't think. I mean, that's the one thing.
Business loans.
Maybe, but he was. If you recall though, he was trying to get a loan in that episode because that is like just some white middle class shit right there. It's like I need to pay I think tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars off to a drug boss.
Yeah.
I will go to a bank and ask for a loan. That was his first move, and shockingly that didn't work out. The bank's like, you've got no income, and you're already really. I mean, I guess he's like mortgaged out his ass for his house, and they're like, yeah, we can't give you a loan. So that's tough. He actually, I think in a way is in a very similar situation to a lot of like the middle class. I did a little air quotes for people not watching, because he's got a nice house, he's got a car and everything, but it sounds like he's up to his ass in debt. He really needed that income, and when he didn't have the income, all of a sudden he's like, oh no. But yeah, would you still be like yeah, Dad, you just fired me and completely fucked everything up? Sure, come over for Sunday brunch.
It's gotta be hard because, I mean, again, we can only imagine. I mean, I know of customers that where they do bicker and dispute over money.
Yeah, for sure. I think for him, this whole season was a little bit of. It was supposed to knock him down a bunch of pegs.
Mm-hmm.
He had to get humbled. Realize that, he that character more than everyone. There's that sort of like, you're supposed to be strong and silent as a man, and you're the provider and whatever. And it's like, oh, the world doesn't work exactly like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I don't know about in the UK, but in the US, it's like most families cannot survive on a single income.
No, nowadays, fuck no. Unless you inherited a house or you have like good like money, like a fucking trust fund, buying a home these days on a single income, good fucking luck.
And then on the flip side, you've got Myrna, who's this I'm gonna do right. I'm gonna fix the world. I gotta stand up for Bristol, so forth and so on. But she's sort of running into all these moral dilemmas, particularly because her stated goal is like to help the community and fix all these social justice issues, and then they kind of get backed into a corner where they're selling drugs, and it's like, does this sort of conflict with my stated mission a little bit? One of the funniest parts of the whole thing is that she's giving away like pamphlets to the people they're selling drugs for like, drug addiction is a problem. If you need help, go to here. Which that was a great little touch that actually pays off later.
Yeah.
It's funny. Those characters to me by themselves are extremely boring, and together they're pretty funny.
Yeah, for sure.
And then who else do we have left?
The last two main characters, the mains.
Oh, sure.
The black
Do
dude.
you think they even were the main mains this season?
I think they were. I think the shitstorm that puts them all pretty much back into trouble is their dilemma. Like them, because it was the black kid who had the money from the drugs to begin with that they now have to replace, and 100% it's that girl that they refer to like. Who's the big in your group? And they all point to the girl because she's like the one that's like when shit really hits the fan, she provides like this is how we're gonna solve the problem, and you go do this, you go do that,
She I think they refer to her as a brain box with a scholarship to Oxford.
something like that. Yeah.
And yeah, it was funny. So it definitely was her plan to start. Like we tried one thing that didn't work. Okay, we're just gonna sell drugs. So her arc is she's going from her parents planning her whole life out. She has to be a perfect student and go to Oxford. She ends up in the the work release, like doing these community hours because she was shoplifting a lot.
Yeah.
So that thing, she likes that kind of danger. She likes to.
She gets off. She gets off on like being the bad girl and like doing dangerous shit and putting yourself in dangerous situations, like playing it safe, following the path, like that doesn't excite her at all. She likes trouble.
There was a movie called I Love Trouble in the '90s that was so terrible. I don't know why it just made me think of that. It was really bad. That was back in the time like we didn't have Rotten Tomatoes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to watch it. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And I was like whatever it was, like 12 or 13-year-old. I mean, my bar for what a bad movie was much much lower.
Yeah.
And that was anyhow. And she's paired with Christian, who's the kind of the one who starts this whole thing off. He's a black kid trying to look out for his sister. He's probably more than anyone like really like trying to do right. Like he doesn't want to be involved in any of this, but he's also the one that kicked everything off by stealing the money in the first place. But for him, he just wants out.
It's almost like a reverse Breaking Bad, where he grew up in a shit neighborhood and involved with shitty people, but he's trying to make it, quote unquote, make it out.
Yeah, he's trying to break good.
Yeah, breaking good. There you
go. By the way, I wrote this is completely unrelated to this. I wrote a sketch for just that I'm probably gonna try to post on YouTube, but in it I was trying to come up with a bunch of like self insults for myself.
Uh-huh.
Like the one character is like a younger brother, and then I'm playing the older brother, and the younger brother is just insulting what the other brother looks like.
Okay.
And one of these insults I had is like, you look like Walter White if you broke mediocre. I like that one.
I would change it. I would come up with a better.
No, I like that one. Fuck you.
Mediocre, breaking, something else.
I like that one. And
okay.
I had, you look like a dollar store Jason Statham. And, people have told me I look like Jason Statham. I don't really see it. I think they're just like, you're like a bald white guy. I'm like, okay. Thank you. I think that is meant as a compliment.
How about Walmart Jason Statham?
A Walmart? That's even no. Fuck that. Why am I more offended by a Walmart Jason Statham than dollar store?
That's why it's funnier.
That one hurts when you say Walmart.
I fixed your joke for you. There you go. Boom.
I like dollar store better.
No, Walmart. You know it's better. You know it's better.
It's like anyhow. So yeah, they have those two. Without giving anything away, it seems like this might be the last episode or the last season.
I don't know, because I felt like that at the end of season 1. I was like, okay, cool. Like I thought it was a mini series, and then they come out with season 2. I'm like, oh, that's all right, okay.
But I guess out of all the characters though, like the Ronnie, who was the girl, and then Christian was the guy. It felt like their arcs were the ones that weren't really finished. Everybody else,
Yeah.
you could have more for sure. It wasn't like everything was completely resolved, but it wasn't even that they weren't resolved. The way they ended it for them, I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. You think that they're, again, we're trying not to give away spoilers, but the way that they're heading, and then the way they end, you're like, I didn't see that kind of shit coming. Like, it was like maybe there was hints here and there, but we didn't. I don't know. It was weird, interesting.
I thought a lot of their arc also didn't make sense because here's the other thing. He's trying to like I said, break good.
Yeah.
And he wants to start like his own like food shack restaurant.
Yeah.
And to me, it was wild that they were gonna go into a business venture together, like she's how old is she? Is she like 18?
Well, she's going to college. Yeah, she's going to Oxford. Sure, she got a scholarship to go to. So she's not quite 18, maybe 18, exactly 18.
Yeah, exactly. They just did a complete speed run of their relationship.
Yeah.
It's like okay, we worked together in doing community service because we were both. Well, I guess he didn't even really do anything wrong, but that's another a whole other part of season 1. But it's like we're doing community service hours together. Okay, like I'm crashing at your place. I guess we're girlfriend and boyfriend. Let's open a fucking business together and get a loan from my parents.
They went from 0 to 100.
Yeah, that was a lot. If I was the parents, I was like, yeah, maybe. Let's see if this relationship lasts like more than a month.
Yeah, more than exactly.
Because that's also like her first boyfriend, right?
I don't know.
Seems like it is. Anyhow, that one was weird. If there was a season 3, what would you be most interested in seeing? Just with things that seem a little bit unresolved.
I would like to see. Well, obviously, like my favorite characters. Like, what's next? Is, again, I can't go into too much what I'd like to see because then I give away some of what season 2 is. But I want to see what happens with Walken's character.
Christopher Walken.
Walken. I also want to see what happens with Stephen Merchant's character with like the lady issue, or women in general. Like, where's he going with this now? And his job. Oh
yeah, he got fired, huh?
Well, did he get fired? Did he quit? Is he gonna go start his own firm? We don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I think just him and so now that you know what, it is interesting. They've kind of made a power vacuum.
Yeah.
Right? Like the big drug boss is gone. We think. We don't know.
Yeah, you know.
Maybe he kingpins himself out of there, but what they just go full Breaking Bad, but it's instead of Walter White, it's fucking like British socialite. She's the new Walter White. That'd be hilarious. Yeah. Just Greg and Lady Gabby start their own drug empire.
Yeah, there's for sure there's creative ways for there to be a season 3. Again, I feel kind of the same way at the end of season 1. Like, a lot of things were resolved. There was a few things that just weren't, but I was good with it ending. And then there was a season 2. It was like, oh, awesome. And I feel the same way with season 2. Like, every major thing has kind of been resolved, but there's also like, well, we can go with this. We can go in this direction. We can go in that direction with this. It's not like 100% end of story for all these characters.
Oh yeah, and then is Diane? We can even talk about her. That the true like just straight comic relief in this is the supervisor for the community service.
Yeah,
is
short, heavyset, little.
She's a little tree trunk of a woman.
Yeah.
She's kind of. She's like a more over the top Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
If you could kind of imagine that.
Yes.
And she's just like pure comic relief, and she wants to become. Does she want to become a detective, a policewoman?
She wants to be a police person. Yes.
And she's both like ridiculous, but very like focused and kind of. I was gonna say anal retentive. That.
Oh no! Oh no!
You find out in this season that she's like a little bit more sexually liberal than you might have guessed.
A lot more sexually liberal.
And yeah, the episode where she and Greg go on a mock date, so Greg's dating techniques can be evaluated, is pretty hilarious.
It's a good one.
That was one of the funniest odd couple pairings in
For
the
sure.
whole thing.
For sure.
But yeah, what does she ever become a detective? We have to know. So, okay? So, first, is season 2 a binge or a purge for you?
Binge. I feel like it reminds me of kind of sort of not quite the same, but I mean because it's British European, the Misfits, where you have like,
yeah, you mentioned that before.
it's like they're in trouble. Where are we going with this? And you kind of develop an attachment to the characters and personalities, and you kind of want to see their development as people, and we'll see.
And then, do you think season 2 was stronger or worse than season 1?
I don't think it's as good as season 1, but it was worth like watching it due to the finality of it. But no, I think season 1, because you're like, it's such a new, colorful, new show, and you kind of like like that first date, where when you start like a relationship, it's all nice and cool up front, and it kind of goes away after, like you're with them for a couple years,
Yeah, I agree, and I think even just in terms of like the plot and stuff, there were things that you had to forgive in season 2, where you're like, okay, this didn't really make sense, but whatever, I'm just enjoying the show enough that I don't care.
Yeah.
Where you didn't have to do that as much in season 1, but I think the character development and everything. I mean, this is a character-based show. That was still really solid.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, would you like how on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how much would you actually want to see a season 3 of this?
I'd say stronger than like a 7 or 8. Like I'm for sure want to see a third season. Like I could do another season. I haven't lost interest entirely. It's still a good show. The characters are still great. And if they do develop a season 3, I will be 100% watching it.
I'm a little bit in a weird spot with this. I really enjoyed season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I still, I mean, and this was like a literal binge for me. Like I watched, I think 3 episodes one day and 3 the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And still really enjoyed it. It's only 6 episodes in season 2, but I do think season 2 was a little bit worse than season 1. And I would not want to see this show just gradually get worse and worse over time.
Yeah.
So like I would be really fine if they just wrapped it up now. And so for me, it's like a 5 or 6 as far as whether I'd want to see a season 3.
Yeah.
Really more than anything, I'm like, Stephen Merchant, can you do more kind of like drama comedy shows? Like this was great. Like if nothing else, I just hope this gives him a little bit more traction to do whatever he wants to do next.
Yeah.
And if it's season 3, cool. If not, then it'll be something else.
Yeah.
Outlaws. That was it. Outlaws was a binge from both of us.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you want to say? Do blah 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 blah.
How are we doing on time?
We're at an hour.
Nah.
We hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, the episode. We're experimenting with the new camera stuff, so we'll get better at it. But we hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you guys next week. Bye bye.